Hello, this is Brittany Boles with chapter 12 of my book, Finding Starlight. It is the unpublished story of my life as I remember it, told through a past life regression session. For those of you following along, this is take 3 tonight because Facebook is being weird and keeps deleting my videos. So if this one doesn't work, I'm just gonna have to record it and post it to YouTube. So thank you for joining me and following along. This is chapter 12, Just Kiss Me. We are starting over with that due to technical difficulties. And if you'd like to catch up on chapters 1 through 11, they are posted on my website, brittanyboles.com. So here we go, starting over with chapter 12 of Finding Starlight, Just Kiss Me. Going back to Arizona was, as I'm sure you can imagine, like going to an oasis. I needed space to breathe, to grieve, I paused, caught in the feeling, to just exhale the pain of the past year, you know? I do know, she said. I needed to get out of my head and feel something again, experience life, I emphasized. Then let's get out of your head and experience it, right? She asked, nodding in the direction of the already expanding cloud. I paused for breath and agreed. Let's go. I was just thinking about Arizona, not necessarily about the other funeral and the darkness that surrounded it. That's why I asked the cloud to take us there instead of showing us. Maybe if I had given it more thought, I wouldn't have had to relive the whole thing again. But then again, maybe reliving it is what I needed. In any case, we went to Arizona this time, and like before, I dropped into the experience entirely. We sat by a pool in a fancy resort. Warm, damp towels, scented with rose water, were brought around in little baskets for us to refresh our hands. Nearby, people laughed, splashed, and played. You've really grown up. 15 looks good on you, declared an absolutely stunning woman with $1 million smile, towering over me in a bikini and baseball cap. Thanks, Diana. You look gorgeous as always. Thanks for having us. This place is amazing, I replied, grinning widely. Jason and the other kids are over in that cottage if you want to say hi, she said. I'm sure they all would love to see you. I can't believe it's been a whole year. Neither can I. It feels like yesterday. I love you guys, I said, already turning in the direction she had pointed. The cottage was splendidly adorned. High-ceilinged room, built in the desert style with arching windows, tiled floors, and dark, rich wood accents. Sitting on the bed and in lush chairs were the group of teenagers I had gotten to know last year. They, too, had grown up. Brittany, he shouted, running over to me and picking me up with arms much larger than I remembered, spinning me around and hugging me into his bare chest. Coarse, sandy-colored hair matched new stubble on his chin. Jason, I replied, breathless from the strength of his hug. You are way taller. I missed you. He looked at me with blue eyes, full of familiar wanting, but my smile remained friendly as I faced the rest of the room. Hi, Chris. Hi, everyone, I said, bursting with cheerfulness. They were as happy to see me as I was to see them, and it showed. We broke into the overlapping, fast conversation that only teenagers can understand, swapping stories of the last year. Eventually, the conversation slowed and we moved out to the pool to join the adults. Where's Justin? I asked my aunt, suddenly aware that we were missing a friend. They're on their way, she said, and added, he's going through a rough time. He might not be the same kid you remember. As if on cue, a middle-aged woman in a swimsuit, followed by a surly-looking, skinny, blonde teenage boy in black shorts, shirt, hat, and sneakers, walked around the corner. The kid was staring moodily at the ground with headphones in his ears and a dark look on his face, clearly unhappy about being dragged to the gathering and in no way prepared to enjoy the water. He sat on a lounge as far away as he could get from everyone else in the shade and proceeded to ignore the world. Marcella put her bags down and immediately wrapped me in a hug, saying, "Oh my God, Brittany, I am so sorry to hear about your mom. You must be heartbroken." Caught off guard, I said, "Thanks, Mark. It's been hard, but she's in a better place now. How are you? And is that—" I gestured at the surly blonde. "Justin?" "I'm good. So happy to be here and to see you," she said, and answered, "Yes, it is, Justin. Go and say hi." With my typical gusto, I bounded over to him and crouched down directly under his face, peering up underneath his hat. I gave him my hugest smile and gently tugged on a headphone wire. "Hey, old friend," I said. "Remember me?" He was not impressed. "Well, I'm happy to see you," I forged on. "Want to come swim?" "Not right now," was all he said. I shrugged and ran to join my friends in the water. Another day, we were at Diana's mansion in the desert. Walking up the marble staircase away from the pool deck, I paused, turned down the hall, and walked into an enormous guest bedroom. Sulking on the bed was Justin. Moody, dark, and ignoring everyone, he clearly wanted to be alone. I sat down next to him and said, "What's going on with you?" He looked at me then, really looked at me. Crystal clear eyes, the color of the sky, with dashes of white all through them, like wisps of high clouds, pierced my own dark brown gaze. "Your mom died, huh?" he replied. "Yes, she did. A couple weeks ago," I said. "It was a long time coming, you know." I trailed off, breaking our stare to look down at the white duvet. "How are you doing with it?" he asked. "It sucks," I said, voice low and thick. "I don't even know how to feel, honestly." "Yeah, I know how that goes," he said in the same tone, looking away. Then, "Why don't we go outside and hang with everyone for a while?" "Are you sure?" I asked, surprised. "We might have fun," I teased him. "Remember fun?" A crooked smile lifted his mouth, one light eyebrow raised. "Oh, I know how to have fun," he said in a way that made my stomach do a backflip. Another day, Jason picked us up in his brand new SUV. We were heading to the mall, sitting in the air conditioning on tan leather seats and listening to the radio. "Did you know that Justin sings?" he asked, looking at me out of the corner of his eye. "No way," I said, turning to face the middle seats where Justin and Chris were sitting. "Is this true?" In answer, he rolled up his sleeve and showed me a bold black tattoo of a band logo, the same band that was playing on the radio, Sublime. "Okay, first of all, who wears a long sleeve shirt in July in Arizona?" I began, and we all laughed. "Second, how did you even get a tattoo? You're only 15. 14, he argued. "And I know people." "He sounds exactly like Bradley Nowell," Chris offered. The lead singer of Sublime was a household name to our generation. Justin hung his head, feigning embarrassment, then smiled and told me, "I'm not bad. Maybe if you're lucky, I'll sing for you sometime." Jason's hands tightened on the steering wheel. He said, "All right, guys, where to first?" "Okay, you can join. Hey, Nick." Things are happening over there on Instagram. In answer, he rolled up his sleeve and showed me a bold black... we already did that. Sorry. On another day, We were scattered around a large hotel room after an afternoon of boating on the lake. Justin and I were on the floor in our swimsuits talking to the grown-ups as they made dinner. He scooted closer to me and ran his hands down my mostly bare back. I crooned. That feels good. More, please. He laughed softly and said, lay down. I did. He straddled my hips and drew shapes on my back with gentle, hardly touching fingers, daring me to guess the pictures. Time moved along like it did in this strange place. At my aunt's house in Phoenix, Justin and I sat on the deck, drying off in the sun from another dip in the pool. Metal blared on the stereo, a genre we both loved. We talked about the recent death of a frontman we'd grown to admire, and the song changed to an angry punk tune. My mom should have had an abortion, rang out into the sunlit yard. Justin snickered. Yeah, she probably should have, he said. I put my hand on his leg, imploring, do you really feel that way? I mean, sometimes, yeah, he answered. Shit is so fucked up, you know? My moms haven't been living together for ages. I dropped out of school. It seems like all my friends are getting into fucking meth. That shit is terrible. You know that? He demanded, looking at me with hard eyes. Yeah, I feel like it's kind of a joke almost. Like, who actually does meth? Which was the wrong thing to say, apparently, because he gripped my shoulders and stared at me. It's not a joke, he said. People are dying. It's an epidemic, especially around here. People are just throwing their lives away, rotting in their apartments, getting high all day. His eyes moved somewhere else, far away. Have you tried it? I had to ask, bringing him back. Yeah, I tried it. Awful stuff. I won't do it again. I can't. I won't let myself turn into that, he said desperately, like he needed it to be true. You won't, I assured him. Promise me you'll never touch that shit, he said, not ready to let it go. Swear it now. Say you'll never even try it. I promise, I said. With his hands still strong on my shoulders, he pulled me in. I raised my face, wanting those lips to brush my own, but he wrapped me in a hug, placing his slightly pointed chin on the top of my wet hair and holding me a little too tightly. Then we were in the small apartment he shared with Marcella, who was at work. Looking out the balcony window at the hot tub below, I asked in what I hoped was my most casual voice, have you ever had sex in a hot tub? Yes, I have, and it's not how you'd think, he snapped at me. What do you mean, not how I'd think? I asked, annoyed. You're a good girl, he answered. I know you're a virgin. I know you're saving yourself. I know what you believe, and I'm glad you have that faith. Yeah, I am a Christian, I said angrily, but that doesn't mean I'm naive. Just because I don't want to have sex until I'm married, probably, doesn't mean I haven't done other things, I told him. Oh yeah, he chided. What things have you done? Lots of things. Ugh, forget it. Let's just go, I said, and headed for the door. We walked down the busy street to a New Age store between his house and my aunt's. It smelled like incense and old books. A woman in a flowing skirt with long, frizzy gray curls sat behind the counter reading. Justin went for the candles and stones in the window, leaving me to wander. I found my way between rows of bookshelves drawn inexplicably to a dusty book on tarot cards. Sitting on the floor, I opened the cover and tried to read. The woman with the skirt approached me, walking as if in a dream. Are you okay? She asked. Yeah, I'm just looking, I said in the automatic way one does while browsing a store. No, she said more firmly. Are you okay? I closed the book and looked up at her. Yes? Why do you ask? Something has happened to you recently. I can see it, she said, peering not at me, but through me. I stood up to face her, intrigued, drawn in. My mom just died a few weeks ago, I confided, expecting the usual response. Instead, the woman said, she wants you to know she is okay now. She's proud of you. She remembers watching the school bus go by and dressing you up in pretty dresses and brushing your hair. She loves you. Justin found us just then, took one look at my face and rushed to my side. The lady shook herself and seemed to come back from wherever she had gone. Thank you, I told her as she silently turned to leave. What just happened? Justin demanded. Come on, I'll tell you outside. I want to go back to my aunt's house. As we walked, I relayed the strange words I had been given. Okay, well, anyone could say something like that. You told her your mom died. That's an easy guess. Moms do that shit, watch the bus and whatever. He tried to reassure me with this logic. The people in that store are always saying weird stuff. It's very Arizona. Moms do that stuff, sure, I slowly explained. But mine didn't. Not really. She was delusional. She always said that she remembered that. Exactly, literally that. Brushing my hair and dressing me up. But the truth was that she was a shitty mom who completely neglected my sister and me. I got us ready for school. I dressed myself. I took care of all of us. Oh, I used to get so mad at her when she'd talk like that, like she was some loving, doting mother. I shuddered. And near the end, she'd call me all the time, crying, saying, "Oh, Brittany, I just saw the school bus go by and I miss my girls so much." We'd arrived at my aunt's house. Let's go swimming, clear our heads, I suggested, changing the subject. In the small pool, quietly floating on our bellies, laying on clear blue rafts, he paddled close to me, holding on to the front of my floaty, so we were facing each other. We grew up too fast, he said. It's not fair, especially not for you. You're good. Too good for me. For any of us, really. I'm not, I started to say, but his expression stopped me. His lips were close, too close, to mine. He seemed for a second to be fighting with himself, and then dropped his shoulders a little, rolling his eyes as if to say, fine, and kissed me. Another leap in time. Another day was unfolding. We were cuddling on the couch in his apartment, talking quietly with our faces close together. I wrapped my hand around the nape of his neck, fingers playing with his soft blonde hair, stroking his throat. He leaned down and kissed me deeply. My back curved, pressing my body into his, arms wrapping tightly around him. I moved to lie beneath him, trying to pull him down onto me. With a rough gasp, he pulled back. I told you no. He was gruff. We aren't doing that. Justin, please, I want you, I pleaded. You don't know what you're asking, he said, moving to get up. Then just kiss me, I begged. Just don't stop kissing me. He obeyed for a few more minutes and then finally stood up, rummaging around in the closet, getting ready to go to work. You know, I said from the couch, watching him, I'm leaving for California tomorrow. I'll be gone for a week with Auntie and Uncle. I wish you could come. I'll miss you. Everyone will be there at Diana's beach house, he unnecessarily reminded me. Yeah, I know. We're spending a couple days with them while we get the funeral stuff figured out, I reminded him right back. You were invited too. I have to work, he said, and kissed me again. I wondered after if things would have been different if he had come. I'm sure they would have. But it wasn't his job to protect me. He had his own demons to slay. And that concludes chapter 12 of my book, Finding Starlight. Next week's chapter, The Color of Ashes, will air on Wednesday. And that is by far the hardest chapter that I will ever have to read. So if you've joined me for this, thank you. As always, feel free to reach out in DMs or comments with anything you'd like to share or say. And I really, really appreciate the 150, 200 of you that are watching every week. So definitely still trying to get published and discovered. Thank you. I love you, and I'll see you next time.